going to be a short tutorial on anti-airing in MK11. 842 is one of my supporters, and he used his channel points reward for 4,000 channel points, and those are free. You get those from just watching the stream. He redeemed that reward and asked a question about anti-airs, and because he redeemed that reward for the live tutorial, I'm going to now teach him and try to, you know, make sure he understands all about his issues with the anti-airs. So being consistent with anti-airs is the main focus. So if we hop in stage right now, we'll take a look at that. So specifically, his question about anti-airs are why they're really inconsistent, and is there a way to be more consistent at them. So the thing is, in MK11, anti-airs are not super consistent for various reasons, much like in MKX. Thank you for the follow, Rampage. Welcome to the stream. How are we doing? But the problem lies from MK9, because that's where anti-airs were the most consistent in NRS games, right? Like, you could jab anti-air any jump and everyone had the same universal jump-ins. With MK11, characters have different jump kicks, jump punches with different ranges and hitboxes. So the inconsistencies come through when limbs are extended. So if we take a look, and we're gonna just record Kung Lao to jump, right? So I'm just gonna record him to do an empty jump. Now, getting consistent with anti-airs, I'll get to that in 1 second, but I just want to demonstrate hitbox and hurtbox. So if you notice, if I'm like super far back and I jab, you notice Johnny's not going to anti-air because they're not connecting, right? So that's one thing. Empty jumps are super easy to anti-air because you don't have to worry about a limb sticking out and hitting. You know, you can use a lot of different anti-airs, stuff like that. The problem comes in when there is a limb extended, so a jump kick, right? Now, when you try to anti-air a jump kick, you're going to get stuffed if you're not on point with it, right? So what you'd have to do is anticipate which jump in they're going to do. Which then, extending his hurt box from the jump kick makes it easier to anti-air. Because you notice before the move actually comes out, the hurt box is active. So you can actually anti-air from like super far away. So if they throw out a limb super easily, look how far away I'm anti-airing that from. Right? So that's one thing to take in consideration when trying to anti-air. Now, there are two types of anti-airs. There are reaction anti-airs and read anti-airs. Sometimes you'll see me use, I'll show an example. So if I'm playing at this spacing, right, I'm looking for Kung Lao to whiff a button, and I'm trying to whiff punish with back 3, right? But in my head, I'm also thinking he's going to jump. Like, my goal, I want him to jump at me, right? So in that situation where he would jump, like, you know, we're baiting it, I'm waiting for it, right? I'm waiting for the jump. And that helps with the reaction, because, like, if you're just playing, you gotta be absolutely cracked out to just anti-air on reaction without expecting it. Like, that's something like in Street Fighter you might be able to do because of like buffering and whatnot, but like MK jab anti-airs, like, it's easy to react with a jab anti-air, but it is much easier when you're anticipating the jump. So that would be my first tip, is anticipate the jump. And that's how I would practice, you know, baiting anti-airs in ranked. I'd stand just outside the opponent's effective spacing to make them uncomfortable. Now, read anti-airs come into play more so in the corner. Like, I'll show an example with Johnny Cage. But, like, if I'm throwing force balls, I kind of want them to jump at me. So every once in a while, I'll throw out an EX one, like with the high arc. So, like, it will catch them jumping over if they try to jump over, right? Like, if they try to jump over the first one, they're gonna get hit by the second. But that's like a read anti-air. But the other one would be in the corner. Actually, here, I'll just set them over. The other way would to be in the corner, and you know, let's say I knock them down, right? Like, you know, and then I think they're gonna jump out. Sometimes I like to forward. Whoops, he got an up 3 because of that. My bad. I just should record an empty jump. So in the corner, right, anticipating an anti-air is a lot easier because a lot of moves can convert off it. Like, you know, if you go to meaty someone with like 1-2-1 with Johnny, you're gonna catch them jumping and you can easily just confirm into a rising star or something like that. But a lot of the time you'll see me go for, like, this is how you know it's a read, is when I knock them down in the corner and you see me forward 3 them on wake up, which he's not jumping directly on wake up. Let me just set the AI to jump. Movement mode, jump forward. So you'll see me like forward 3 sometimes, and that'd be like max damage anti-air right there, kinda. Like, it's just a good button because it covers jump outs. It's got a really good hurt box on like not a reaction anti-air, on a read anti-air. Same thing with back 2, but back 2 there's more damage scaling. Well, more gravity scaling as well. But you'll see a lot of the time, like if I anti-air with forward 3, that's a read anti-air, but I'm not always just looking for the jump right there. That covers multiple options, which I'm sure if you guys have been watching me, you'll definitely see some situations where I forward 3 anti-air them. And like I said, it's super specific, but it's more read-based. So that's pretty much the difference, reaction versus read-based anti-airs. A lot of characters have different ones. Like for example, with Scorpion, if you have a read on their jump, like if you don't want to try to like jab anti-air them and you have a hard read that they're gonna jump, you can do your air throw and you can get a crushing blow. So that's just one. That's another example of it. Or like Terminator's instant air throw and stuff like that. Those are ones you could do based off of like hard reads. Whereas reaction anti-airs, don't get confused by the name, because reaction anti-air still means you're looking for it. Like, it's not 100% a read and it's not 100% a reaction. You're just looking for it. I was about to get to that next. So flawless blocking jump-ins. I prefer to do that because it's the most consistent. Because like you've seen, Kung Lao has a really good jump kick. And anti-airing that from like right here is really difficult unless you like super read it and you can do an early like back 2. Right? Like that's the only way you're going to be able to anti-air that on reaction. And once again, you're looking for it. Like, you got to be looking for that. That's the thing. So the tech would be to flawless block it. Right? Which, it's difficult because you have to know when the opponent's going to press the button. Now, what I like to do, and you guys will notice from watching my gameplay videos, I don't really ever launch off of an anti-air like that because I don't want to spend 2 bars unless it's going to kill them. Let's take a look at the frame data. So if you notice, if you block a jump in, he's plus. Well, he's 0 because of the height. Let's do a deeper jump kick. So that one should be plus. Yeah, so that's like +5, right? That's what you're going to see more often than not. You're not going to see too many early jump kicks because that's the counterplay to this. So, when I flawless block it, whoops, when I flawless block it, excuse me, it's 0. Which means I get to take my turn back. Like, I usually throw out a down 1, and it kind of surprises them because it's like a check. Because they're like, what, I'm supposed to be plus. So then I just take my turn with that. Now, like I said, you can always launch it, but I just don't like to waste my meter on that. I mean, it's situational, for sure. But flawless blocking the jump in makes things more minus, or makes them, in this case, because like that's a super deep one, so it's like really plus. The timing's also a lot harder. But, you know, you get your turn back at least. That's the advantage to flawless blocking that. And the only tip for that I have is pay attention to their jumping. Like, if they're doing a lot of early jump kicks, you know, like, you can easily flawless block that. And, like, look, if they tried to press a button because, you know, they autopilot and they don't think you're going to flawless block their jump in, they're going to get smacked. This isn't punishable, but you get to take your turn back. So, like, if you're playing a character like, you know, if I'm Showstopper, right, you could just do that in the EX Force Balls and stuff like that. But that's really all I have for anti-airing tips. Just mainly, you want to scout for it. The best way to practice this would be go into ranked match. Don't worry about winning or losing or whatever. Just kind of stand around a spacing with your character where they're going to whiff and you can hit them. So like if you're Johnny, right? You're going to want to stand about right here because this is like Kung Lao's max effective range and you can whiff punish stuff with back 3. And then once you establish that you dominate the ground game, you're going to anti-air them. Because you're going to be looking for that jump. Like you're playing neutral and you're looking for that jump. Just practice anti-airing. And you know, how can you forget the classic down 2? Not everyone has a good down 2, but some characters do. And like Johnny, you can always just anti-air with the down 2. Some characters I'd advise against it, but that's essentially anti-airing in a nutshell and how to get more consistent with it. Flawless blocking it is probably your best option, but unless you really know your character's hitboxes, you know, I would just advise flawless block it. But if they're just doing jumps from bad spacing, a jab anti-air will clearly just take care of it. Your 3 mains have terrible down 2s. Yeah, find your best anti-air. Some cases it's pokes. Like Johnny, sometimes I'll just low profile jump ins. I mean, you're not gonna low profile a Kung Lao jump kick, but you know what I mean. Some characters have really good down 1 anti-airs. Some characters have really good down 3 anti-airs. But in Johnny's case, your jab's going to be your best bet. But I hope that cleared everything up. Any other questions, 842, relating to this?